Welcome to the Partition, home of Kinky Wellness with Dana and Kat. Together, we give a new voice to kinky sexual wellness. We're not your average wellness advocates, so let's peel back the layers of kinky wellness and talk about it. Hello and welcome back, Katrina. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm good. So this week we're doing a little bit of polyamory and threesomes in general and just sex on experiences. So we can just jump right into this one.
I know. So, let's start with yours.
I know. Okay. So polyamory, is when one person has a relationship with one or more people at the same time. Now there's still rules and guidelines with it, but I feel like polyamorous, it's a way more fluid within partners themselves. And yes, I guess a little bit about me. I would say like the definition by default is someone in a relationship with more than one person at the same time. And I can definitely say I was in a relationship with more than one person at one time. And it doesn't have to necessarily be sexual. Like my relationship with my best friend at the time and Adam at the same time, how the three of us moved as a unit, we really were like this really tight knit relationship to the point where people like invited us to weddings together and we did everything together. At the height of it, we would balance all three of our families at Christmases and Thanksgivings. And so we were going to each other's families as together, like the three of us, like we made plans, to be together basically forever, one of those fairy tale things. And yeah, like long story short, eventually Adam and I realized that this wasn't something we wanted to do. And at the end of the day, like Adam and I are still friends. And the third one just didn't see it that way. Like it was very much like, no, we have to stay together. And unfortunately we couldn't grow as like friends. And this is what I mean about like, it's unfortunate that some people have to get to a point where there's so much anger towards each other that you can't like remember that you used to be friends at some point when you do like breakups, because that was a breakup for sure. Like it definitely was painful. I definitely felt pain not seeing her family anymore and things like that. So yeah, polyamory, I wouldn't do it again though. Through my experiences, I can't say that it works for some people, but I like my one and only, sorry.
No, I get that. Although I do love that you were like, yeah, I was in a relationship with Adam and then my best friend. And I'm like, that's me and Valerie. I keep telling everyone that we're in a throuple and John doesn't believe us. But I've got a wedding ring from her. But
hey, you got those iron rings? What are you talking about? You guys made
our wedding rings. So proud of ourselves.
That's funny.
We all know it'll be me and Valerie getting married because I want a party and she wants like to be able to sign someone for her tax purposes.
That's funny.
But no, it is. So I've never done poly. I've had friends in the past who have done it. It's never turned out well for them. Like without being rude. Like, because they were very, like, I'm not going to name anybody. It's not somebody I'm in contact with now, but I remember when we first met, they were very like pro, you need to do it. You should do poly. You'll find you get a lot more out of it, etc., etc. And yeah, I remember they went really quiet. So I texted them and I was like, are you okay? Not heard from you in a while. And they were like, yeah, I had a load of heartbreaks, like a load of breakups. But they were to the point where like they were looking into with a lawyer, how would you go about buying like property as a polyamor, like in a polycule?
Yeah.
Because like they mentioned it to me and I was like, you need to make sure you all put the same amount in.
Absolutely.
Because else you're screwed money-wise or you're screwed if it goes wrong. Because there's always going to be like, you need to be able to buy each other out is what the clauses need to be.
Yeah.
But then it was this like, so it wasn't just like, this, it was very serious relationships. There was a lot of emotions there, but I would say, and I'm going to sound awful when I say it, I met their partners at their birthday. And the two partners that were like the main, because you always have like, from what I've seen anyway, it's like you've got the main couple.
I would say I was the main. I would say I was I know I was the glue that held those two together because just how the fallout happened. Like she was so cold to him that it's just like, no, like like it's just one of those things. Like I felt really bad for how she treated Adam after, like, not even like, because I felt bad because I was like, man, if like all these friendships are me, like they all like kind of come and connect, because my relationship, she came first, like it was us together, then Adam came in. So it's like, I don't know. And then after it kind of made me feel like she was just kind of like it kind of felt like she just tolerated him or something, or like she was friends, like we were friends at some point, but at the end it's just like, okay, we're like, were you really friends with him? Like, did we just fake all these years together, the three of us? Like, how can you be so cold? But like, that's just my experience. But I've heard and I've seen more than one epic failure of a polyamorous relationship, because it's a lot. It's so much communication and so much honesty. It's a lot that some people like. It's a lot to balance as well, to be not responsible for someone else's happiness, but you are, and you do hold an obligation when in a relationship, certain duties and responsibilities. And when you have more than one, you multiply that.
Yeah. And like, because that was the thing that always put me off, because obviously we all know I'm on dating apps. No dates yet, guys. I'm very sorry. No updates properly yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. There's a few. I'm hoping. I've like put the feelers out. But anyway, when I think this is something a few years ago when I was on a lot of the specifically queer women dating apps, that a lot of people do put themselves as non-monogamous and do put themselves as poly. And it was an interesting one to me where I was talking to my friend about it. And I was like, do I just bite the bullet and accept that this is something that I have to do if I want to date, and just try and go into it with an open mind? Or do I just keep looking for that one person who wants monogamy? And my friend was like really honest with me. She was like, I think if that's your mindset that you have to bite the bullet, I don't think that's a healthy mindset to go into those types of relationships anyway. And I was
100%.
Yeah, but it's an interesting one where it was something that everybody was doing at one point, but it is so many people I know it didn't work out with. And like my argument with staying away from it on the apps was, I was like you said, communication and honesty. I don't know if they're being honest. Like there's a lot of people, you can put whatever you want on a dating app. I could put myself as a 6'2", size 0 model if I wanted to, if I could keep up alive for that long. That it's very easy, especially when you're only meeting one of those people in this in a polycule, in like a massive relationship. It's very easy for somebody to go, yeah, I'm in an open relationship, or yeah, I'm in a polyamorous relationship, and then actually for you to find out later on that they weren't, they just lied to you. And I do have stories of friends who have gone through that as well.
I did that. Like we just did that in the summer. Like one of freaking on news clients, or like some guy he worked with, was giving me this whole speech, and then it turns out it was all a lie. And like I was like, I can't even be around you. But like, but even with that, like everyone doing it all at the same time, to that point, like I want to say I was part of that as well. Like okay, so how do I word this? This is from my own personal experience, but I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, because it seems to be a repetitive thing when I come in contact with this. But I came from somewhere where like I wanted that feeling of family. I wanted that feeling of family subconsciously. And you know what I love most about the LGBTQ is that you are welcome with open arms on all fronts. There's so much love there. And I think it draws.
If anyone listened to last week's episode, I know.
Like there is a lot of love there, but like, but the thing is, when you're seeking love and you go into that, and then everyone's like, do it, it's polyamory, more love, more for you. Taking my account, I want to say it was very comforting. I felt good. And it's not like I didn't have care for these people. I deeply, deeply believe in what I was doing. And it wasn't until a few years like into it where I was like, you know what, this isn't me. This isn't for me. That's fine. But like, I hate when people like, you know, when they make fun of you, like that quote, like you'll grow out of it. Like, I feel like I was that example of like, I was in it because I wanted so much care and love and stuff. And then when I was starting to learn to take care of myself, and I didn't want to take care of other people. And this is my case. Like I took on people that I was kind of taking care of more than I should have, you know. I shouldn't have been doing so much, so young and all this jazz. And like, it's too bad that we couldn't all be friends at the end, but I would never be in a polyamorous relationship again, even though I did it.
No, I do understand it. I do think, like you said, though, it was all like, not necessarily you weren't like, you got like, I'm trying to say this without sounding over, like you said,
no, like it's okay. Like I know,
was, like, you know, when everybody was doing it, you were just, like you said, you were in a specific mindset, and then you grew out of that mindset. It's not necessarily that you grew out of being able to love a lot of people, but like you said, for you, it's not something you want.
Yeah,
I did. And like, you know, I think because we've watched, and it is something we've reviewed earlier, we've in like a few episodes back, the How to Build a Sex Room.
Yeah.
One of the most healthiest dynamics I saw was the poly, because we ended up watching a few more episodes, was the poly couple where she designed the room for like loads of, like, I think it was about 7 of them in a little polycule. It's really funny, actually. I was at my parents' at the time, so my stepdad was sat with me watching it. And we ended up having a really nice conversation about it. And he was like, because he was like, what is this thing that they keep saying? And I was like, basically, and I explained polyamory to him. And he was like, but wouldn't that be about, like, wouldn't people get jealous? And I was like, if it's done wrong, then yes, it is. I was like, however, and I do think, like you said, it is mindset. You need to go into it with a mindset. Like you said,
sorry to cut you off, but like, no. That, like, it's not that it can't work. Like I just, in the West here, I feel like it's complicated because we're raised as an individualistic mindset. It's more of a single family unit dynamic. So we have this onslaught of people that have been raised and taught how to run a family single unit. And then they're taking on this adoption of polyamorous without actually feeling the full weight or educational responsibility or accountability it takes to be in it. But when you do see it in a working, living community where the entire community has adopted it, it's like that's where you see the power of polyamory, I think, in that opinion. But here, I don't think it's. Sorry?
I was going to say, like, when you see it works in such a way that is very beautiful. Like, they all work together. And I do think, like you said, though, it does come from that mindset of, you have to be willing to put the work in. Like, there has to be honesty, communication, boundaries. I think you have to be very strong mentally yourself on your own to be able to open yourself up in that way to so many people.
Yeah.
So people doing it, round of applause.
Yeah, but also like word of caution, like before you jump into something with so many people, even though it sounds nice, like the thing is, like, you cannot fill loneliness with more people. Like you know, like, and we do, and it's, I hate to say, I think everyone has been affected by accidentally getting into a relationship because they were lonely at some point or something was going on, in the sense because it's encouraged for starters. But it's like, now we've adopted, don't just find one person, find multiple people and then all work as together. But it's like, they don't know the tools. And like, how can you be emotionally stable for 2 people when you're struggling to be emotionally stable for yourself? And I know I'm generalizing here, and there's a lot of healthy relationships out there, but man, from my experience, I didn't see that many, not here anyways, not in Toronto. I saw healthy ones outside of Toronto, but not here.
No, I think it really does. You, like I said, like, I think you have to be in a healthy mental state yourself to do. I think also, like, the one thing I would have worried about is, because the reason everyone was going to me, maybe you should try it, is I'm a very solitary creature. So when people say they want like, you know, oh, I'd like this whole thing on TikTok about black cat lesbians, that's me. I want my food, I want my pets, and then I want you to leave me alone. I'm a very, like, I love my alone time. And I feel like that's something that I already find impacts just trying to date one person. So I was like, well, maybe poly would be a great way for me to be able to have that closeness in a relationship, but I haven't got to worry about being seen as mean and neglectful because I need my own time. Like, I'm like, I can handle 3 days. I think it's like 3 days tops with people around me nonstop. Yeah. And then I need you to leave me alone for like a day. Yeah. I need to not talk on the phone to anybody. But it was a really interesting one where I was like, well, actually, I remember saying this to my friend who was in multiple relationships. And they were like, oh no, I'd still be really upset if I had a partner like that. And I was like, but to me, I would find having to give that much of my space and my time to so many people, like I wouldn't be me anymore. I'd feel like I'm losing myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm not allowed to go, please don't touch me today, or can you guys do stuff and I have my own time. To be honest, I think that has exploded because there was more chemistry between like the other two than them. And I was like, that's sad, because they were the one who brought everyone together.
Well, that's the thing about it. Like, then you wanted attention, like not like, and fair, we all want attention. So to say that we don't is ridiculous. And the thing is, but we need that like pure, like complete attention with somebody when you want to be like connected with somebody. And it's kind of difficult for me to be like, oh, I want to give you this connection I have, when I know that you're kind of just going around connecting to other people. And that's fair if you want to love a lot. But I live a life where I kind of want to create like this empire, and I'm going to need you. The thing is, like, I do for a long, long time. I was like, I don't need anybody. Blah, blah, blah. Funny enough, I was surrounded by a bunch of people, always in like, a relationship, even though I was like beating my chest like this. But then when I realized, you know what, like I actually do need somebody, I kind of do want to like build this life and stuff like that. That's when I was like, no, I want one person. Like, this is not this is literally not what I signed up for. Like, I don't want any of this. But like, it's complicated because people ask you like, oh, you guys have sex, the relationship must have sex. And that's the thing. Like, I didn't have sex. Like, first of all, like, can we talk about like, for starters, that's where like the whole BDSM kink exploration came in. Like, I was able to go out, and that's the thing. Like, during my polyamorous, I was still able to go out and have Tinder hookups and like do all these things. I felt so, free. But oddly enough, there was a side of me that kind of just wanted not to be that free. Like, I wanted a responsibility to somebody, an accountability to somebody. And so I don't know, like that was kind of the progression of it. But it's a lot.
It is a lot. Like, yeah. And I do think that is the other thing as well, as people assume poly equals orgy, or like constantly everybody's having sex. And I have seen interviews with other people talking about it, and they're like, actually, I've got quite a low sex drive. So polyamory was good for me because it meant I got the relationship side, but I didn't have to feel constantly like I didn't have to feel guilty in a relationship when I wasn't interested in sex, because there was somebody else able to like almost pick up that slack. I do think that works. But
I think it only works for so long.
Yeah.
I think it only works for so long.
And I think if it is based on the physical more than kind of the mental and the emotional, then I think that's where you kind of will see the heart come in a little bit more. So like obviously poly, and like I don't know, I've heard this term and I don't think it's right. I think someone explained this in a really good way. Well, I remember talking to somebody and they were like, I do non-ethical monogamy, which to me is poly. I'm sorry, it is poly. Because in order, like, no, I do ethical monogamy.
I was going to say they cheat. That's why I was like, wait.
Let me get my words right. Because I was going to say, so it's ethical non-monogamy. Fine, understand that.
Call it polyamorous.
But call it poly, because the alternative is you're cheating.
Yeah.
The alternative is you're not being honest with your partner.
But what's up with the title? For starters, there's already a name for it. Why are we making another name for this?
I know, there's so many things. Because I saw it in a bookshop and I was like, what's the difference? And then somebody was like, there isn't a difference between it. It's just, you're either cheating or you're not cheating.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to get the mindset of. But I think like, so obviously poly tends to be more relationship focused, and obviously the other half of one other part of the section was moving towards the sex side of it. So like I've had threesomes, but I just found it too many bodies. So how have you found group sex?
You know what? I gotta say, in the height of that, like, I feel like I did a number of years, like in a sex party, frisky party, like that at the height of like my going out and like going out to gay clubs and like, I don't know, I think we were just young, young kids, just, a lot of drugs, partying all the whole time, finding any excuse to do anything at any time. But it's like, if I didn't have that polyamorous relationship, I wouldn't have had all the sex experience that I gained.
Fair.
Yeah. Like, because I was able to open up the whole doors. But like, yeah, I remember parties, there'd be like 6 girls on the ground, just like all macking out on each other. There'd be people having sex. And like, I remember like 2 guys having sex like on me. Like, I was like, this is the best day of my life. Like, I was like one of those people. I was like loving life. But like
on you, like
on
all
me,
I'm imagining,
on me.
yeah, all I'm imagining is like you're a table. Like,
oh my
like,
God. We were on the bed. I was like, ah! And I remember just being like, anybody gonna come witness this moment with me? Like anybody? Like, so, yeah. But like there'd be people like fucking in the closet, fucking in the rooms, fucking like on the ground, like people, we'd be sharing videos of each other. Like I remember like at parties, like I'd be friends with this girl who shared videos of her having sex with people. Like so much sex in that height of it. But it was just, yeah. And I think that's where the polyamorous was too, because we got encouraged almost by that group. Like, you guys are so this and so that. We would love to be like you guys, because we were so operated like such a movement. We always looked so cool, calm, and collected all the time. And yeah, like if it wasn't within that encouragement, I'm not sure where we would be without so much of that encouragement. And if we were in that environment, if it would have happened or not. I'm not sure. So I definitely like consider that as part of it. But like, I gotta say, out of all the sex on things, like shrooms is the best, like hands down.
See, I still love my weed. Don't get me wrong. Having a fucking because obviously I don't have a lot of sex. I don't have a lot of sexual experience with other people, but a girl loves an orgasm.
Yes.
Having an orgasm on shrooms is very interesting if I can keep my concentration, because like the last time I did shrooms, my brain kept thinking I was in Mario Land. So
fair enough.
That's a very weird thing to get off to. Just like beep, 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 beep.
Bad jokes.
But weed for me, hands down, is my favorite thing to like, because I like getting stoned and making out. Like I miss kissing, and I say that to people, and they're like, don't you miss like sex? And I'm like, yeah. But like not all my sexual experiences have been these beautiful, positive things. Like even when I was doing like group stuff, even when I was like making out with loads of people, or like me and the girls were like, we're getting wasted and it was like eating up, there was always a part of me that knew I was being used in it, because it wasn't for me, it was for the guys. And even like when I lost my virginity, the reason it happened was because the girl's boyfriend wanted to see her fuck another girl. And then when I was uncomfortable, he was making out with, like, we were all laid on the bed. I was in front, then she's there, he was there. And it was like, him and her were getting off as he was like feeling me up. I didn't realize it was him. I thought it was her. And then obviously like that ruined it. Yeah, there's a reason I don't like being touched from behind.
Yeah.
I'm aware of my triggers. But yeah, so I'm like, for me, a lot of these like group sex scenarios, I've always been very aware it wasn't for me. I was the tool for them to be able to be like, look how naughty I was. Like my boyfriend likes watching me make out with other girls. Because I'm pretty and I'm femme. And like for people who can't see my face, like I fucking am. I'm not gonna lie about it. But my thing with drugs and sex came way after. And I found like when I was healthier, my relationship to like getting stoned and getting off was a lot more connected. In fact, getting stoned was the first time I actually allowed my body to feel complete arousal, because I always got them mixed up. I always mixed up arousal and fear because they feel very similar in women.
Mm-hmm.
So things where I thought I was enjoying sex, actually getting stoned was the first time that I got like really wet.
Wow.
And was I able to enjoy, like I never got it completely in, but like it also takes, for me, being on like, especially things like hallucinogenics, and things like getting stoned, where they're not like party drugs. Like the times when I was doing group sex was when I was on a lot of uppers. So when I was on like speed, when I was on coke, when I used to do, I know how I've got amazing teeth, skin and hair at this age is beyond me.
Honestly, I think of this shit that I used to do, and now I'm like, oh my God, is our Brita filter changed? Like, did that something plastic? Like, I can't, oh my God, like, no, read the ingredients list. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I have to laugh at this fucking growth.
I know. I am like, I won't use certain products, like even just to wash my body if I think it could like affect my pH balance.
Yes.
I used to do like so much speed, and like, I'm so paranoid about my teeth as well. And I'm like, and I used to do it until I was like gurning, and I would go into school. So like, my dad found out the other day I did drugs and was like, oh, it's probably just getting stoned. And I was like, yeah, now. And he was like, did your mum know about this? And I was like, it was really hard not to, because I'd come home on a Sunday and my eyes would not be staying still.
That's jokes.
But I was like, but if I think about it, like doing those things, like you're very disconnected, I would say, from your body. Whereas like doing shrooms and doing weed and stuff like that, I don't know about you, but I find I'm very connected to my body.
Oh, absolutely. Well, like,
it takes away any like bad thoughts as well. And I get to be like, just enjoy the moment.
Well, like, to the point, to add to this, like, alcohol is one of those things I think I was more disconnected from my body than I realized in the moment. Anytime I had, like, looking back now, like, having sex on alcohol, first of all, it's never as good as you actually think. So you can kid yourself on that. Like, it's always like half-assed. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess if you want to get wasted and go drunk, these are from my personal experiences. I think I blew them up, much bigger than they actually were. Like, that was so much fun. Now I'm like, no, none of that wasn't actually that good.
Yeah. No, I find it really hard to like enjoy it when I'm drinking. It feels like a good idea, but then because your body doesn't really do anything, like you don't get wet and your arousal is harder to do, like the physical side of it. Yeah. Like you said, looking back, I'm like, no.
And even weed, it's 50-50 with me. Like sometimes I can be like cool, but like sometimes I'm lazy. Like sometimes I'm like, no, not anymore. I'm like, let's cuddle. Like this is my cuddle time now. Like, oh yeah, like I'm super affectionate. Like I would say that, like, man, I'm one of those people, if I don't get like that whole touch love language thing, you know, you're like, do you still love me? Like you didn't give me a hug. Like, you know, like as much as that's so funny, but I gotta say that's probably my that's mine.
I like touch to a degree, but my love language isn't that. But when I'm stoned, I love like like I said, my favorite feeling is like being in someone's lap and just making out for hours.
Yeah.
I love that feeling. I miss that feeling. Like that's all that I want. Is it I want a girlfriend, or is it I just want to be made out with again?
Well, like if somebody said to you, like, so if somebody offered you a polyamorous like opportunity, it really wouldn't be something you'd be like, no.
I think it would really have to be something I thought about. It wouldn't be something I would immediately go yes to.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be a conversation. And I've always said, if it was something I tried for my peace of mind, I would need to know everybody involved in that.
That's the thing. I would need to know so much that maybe you might find me overbearing.
Yes. Exactly. You'll find me a little bit more like, you'll find me controlling
and
or
needy.
like
you might find me needy.
Yeah, because I'm like, and it isn't even, oh, I need to date every single person in it. It's just in my peace of mind. So I know that I'm not going to date you, think everything's fine, and then find out down the road, actually, I was just someone you were cheating with.
Yeah, but like to add to that, like I don't want to build some, like I feel like it was so much, like I could say like, oh, you're just hurt, that's why you think that, but like the chances of building something with such determination with more than one person, like you really got to get your foundation really fucking solid. Like, have you all talked about what your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan is? Is it even remotely close? Like, there's 3 people now, 4 people now, 5 people now. Like, I don't know, like, and especially when you start merging like kids in there and things like that, it's like, dude, I come from a family of divorced parents. Please don't put this on these kids. Kids get attached to adults and then you disappear. Fuck that noise. Like,
And like for me, as a person who doesn't want her own children, I wouldn't want to be around the kids. And like as a child, I'm really weird as a child of divorce. I'm not like, oh my God, I hate kids. I don't want to be in a position where I have to raise your children because I don't want kids.
Fair enough.
It's a big thing for me. But also, like, yeah, I'm really bad. Like, I get quite aggressive about like how soon do you bring your children into those relationships? And I'm like, you've got to be solid if you're going to bring children into that relationship.
Months and months and months and months and months. I think like if I like, first of all, like forever, ever, like so long, like I don't know, like again, like I don't know, I've been in situations where my mom would bring so many new people over that it did get to a point where I just said, fuck all your husbands, like fuck everybody you bring over, because I know you're just getting another one. Like I don't know, that's just my experience, but it does happen.
I always remember like saying to one of my dad's girlfriends once about like we're buying about Christmas presents or birthday presents. And I was like, if you get to the 2-year mark, then I'll buy you a Christmas present. Like, I don't mean it rude, but I have done it so many times where my dad has got a relationship over Christmas, expected me to buy her a fucking gift. And then it's been over by January. Because I always said my dad gets in a relationship when he wants to like not have to do things with the family.
Yeah, and just like coincidentally, that's convenient. Again.
Especially because like there was a time when like my nan would plan like big family Christmases, and they're like, now everyone's like, why don't you go to your dad's for Christmas? And I was like, because my dad does it with his girlfriends and their families. And do you know how disheartening that is as a child to wake up and have like their kids having their usual Christmas, but I don't get mine because not only am I with my dad, not my mum and my stepdad, but I'm also like in a place I don't know. I'm not near my dad's family. It's all of their family. And I'm like, I'm like, Christmas is intense enough without bringing like a new family into it. It's so hard.
And like, you know what? To add to that, I don't think it gets any less, even as a teenager. It goes all the way up. Like, as well. But anyways, back to like this. I feel like, right, thank you everybody, this was great. When it comes to like threesomes, even in my situation, like being married, like, and you and I have talked about it, it's not even something we want to do. Like, it's not right now, like it's not like it's closed off or anything like that, but it's just something that we don't want to do right now.
And that's understandable. I feel like, do you feel like if you did, like whether it was with another woman or another man, do you feel like it would be a very different feeling for you doing it with the man that you've married over like somebody you were in just a relationship with to go and say, let's have a threesome? Like, do you think that would be?
Yeah, I think it does matter. Like, I know it sounds weird, but like after you get married, when people are like, oh, things don't change after you get married. Listen, I've been married twice now. It does change, like both times. There's something in the air that it becomes more serious. This is more of like you and I together, like kind of like your relationship does get that extra level of like, we're married now, like, woo, like you can't just like up and leave. Like relationships, if they're not married, right? Like you can just get up and leave. And I'm not saying I can't just get up and leave as a married person, but you still have to go through the legal battle to still get out of it. And it doesn't have to be a battle, right? Like I didn't have a battle with Adam. We just signed papers at the end. But like, yeah,
that's still expensive whether you get along or not.
So it's just like it does matter. And I think that like even me thinking about it now, I don't think I'd want to have it with another girl. I would, like, if I had to pick, it would be with a guy. But in the same breath, even saying that, it's like, no, like not even right now. It's not on the radar, but we do make jokes. Like we're married for the rest of our life. So we should never say never because we have a long sexual life ahead of us right now. And we're just married. It's just the two of us right now. So
exactly.
But I do think I don't think that you can have sex with another person and not affect something.
Yeah.
Like,
I think whether you've got the healthiest boundaries or not. I know for me, if I was married and my partner was like just out of the blue, let's have a threesome, I know a part of my brain would go, and I know this is a me problem, not on everybody else. A part of my brain would be like, why am I not enough? And if I say no to this, can I then trust that you're going to take that word seriously, or are you going to go and fuck somebody else? I know that's where my brain would go. I know that's a me issue, and I know it's trust issues.
No, but it's not a you issue. It's the fact of like, you don't want to do that. So why is that? That's unfair for you, for someone to make you feel bad because you don't want to do that. Like that, somebody tried to make me feel bad over this, I would be like, you know what, fuck you. You don't live in my shoes. But like, even with that, like, it's just, if someone said that out of the blue, you've kind of already outed yourself that now you want this. So now it's become a conversation that we now need to have. I think that would become it. So like, those are definitely conversations that need to come up early, even relationships nowadays, because modern sex culture here, it's so ingrained. People have sex and then they get in a relationship. So it's like, you do actually have to have that conversation very soon, very right off the bat.
Yep, same as like my vagissimus conversation. I have to always have I've got vagissimus on the first date conversation, so that people don't think they're going to get a hookup with me, because I'm like, that's not something I can offer you.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard. I think dating is hard. And I think when you add, like, I'm aware we've not got a lot of time left. But back to our point about poly, I think, unless you're completely mentally stable and mentally healthy for yourself, I do not think poly would necessarily work. And I know for me, there are certain things I've got to work on when it comes to relationships. I don't think right now poly would definitely not be something on the books for me.
Yeah. And it's just not something that everybody needs to do, I guess, as well. Like, they're still like, but yes, I do see that we're running out of time. This was great conversation here. Yeah. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But I think in order for it to work, yes, you need a massive amounts of accountability, but also you need to detach from the system you've been raised in and start adopting other systems in place. Because if you follow the Western way of relationships, your polyamorous relationship, I don't think can withstand that pressure. It's just not, it doesn't really coincide together.
No, I agree. I think even if you are a polyamory, like throuple couple, or block, circular, whether you're queer, whether you're not queer, I think it is like in the West, it is heteronormativity, basically. Mm-hmm. And it impacts everything. And I think, if you're going to do poly, it's looking at how to step away from heteronormativity, which I think everybody should step away with, because it harms straight couples as well as like queer couples trying to fit in these old school boxes of who everybody has to be and how a relationship has to look. So define it for yourself, but be accountable.
Yes, be accountable, be honest, be ethical. But that's all that we have time for today. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Katrina. We will see you next week.
Cannot wait. See you soon.
Bye.
That's it for us. Make sure to follow us on Instagram to stay up to date. You can find me at @thepartition_life. And you can find Katrina at _satisfiedcat. Thank you for listening. Tune in next week. And as always, stay kinky.